In this video, we are going to look at a function notation word problem, specifically when we are given two facts that will form a slope form linear equation. As a reminder, if you're using function notation, it just means that instead of y equals mx plus b, you have f of x equals mx plus b. In a word problem scenario, that slope is usually going to be something describing a rate, and the b value is your initial value or maybe a one-time cost or a one-time fee. So let's see this word problem. Your family decides to go on a trip to New York City. Because taking the subway is confusing, you decide to get around using Uber. The Uber ride costs $4 plus $2.25 per mile. So that $4 is a one-time fee, and the $2.25 per mile, that's your rate, so that's our slope. Part A, write a linear model that represents the total cost of the ride as a function of the number of miles traveled. When you read those words as a function of, the thing before it is your y, the thing after it is your x. Remember, y depends on x. Y is a function of x. So this helps you define your variables so you know which ones are your inputs and which ones are your outputs. So they gave us already our slope and our y-intercept. So our slope or our rate is $2.25 per mile, and then our flat one-time fee is $4. So f of x equals 2.25x plus 4, and we know, again, x is the number of miles traveled, and f of x, or our y value, is going to be the total cost of the ride in dollars, so those are your units. Whenever you are creating a word problem, even if they defined the variables for you in the paragraph or in this part of the question, if you created the equation, it's a good practice for you to define your variables. What does the x represent? What does the typical y value represent? And make sure you include your units. Your family budgeted $223.25 for driving around town. What is the maximum number of miles you could travel? After you're done reading a problem, go back and ask yourself, what two facts did they give you? Well, money. Money is associated with our f of x variable, and number of miles traveling, number of miles is your x variable. So we're trying to solve for x when we know our y value is $223.25. So using our equation that we came up with in part A, we'll substitute $223.25 for f of x, and we're going to algebraically solve for this x. So to get x by itself, we want to go ahead and subtract 14 from both sides. When we do that, we get 209.25 on the left, and we still have 2.25x on the right. So this is being multiplied to x, so we would like to divide both sides by 2.25 to undo that operation, and we get that x is equal to 93. This is a word problem, so make sure you finish with words. You can travel 93 miles with $223.25. Once you land at JFK Airport, you plan to drive straight to the 9/11 Memorial and Museum, which is 26 miles away. How much will the Uber ride cost? Again, when you're reading a word problem, you want to ask yourself, what facts did they give you? So they gave you 26 miles, which is our x variable, and it's asking how much it will cost, which is our f of x variable. So using the equation we came up with in part A, we'll substitute 26 wherever we see an x. That includes this function notation on the left side. If we multiply this out and add 14, we get 72.5, which means a 26-mile Uber ride will cost $72.50.